It's so good. Good morning to another Freedom Friday. Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, August 13th, 2021. Friday, August 2021, 7:14 a.m. A famous good morning. As long as we are here, no matter what, always feeling so good from the inside out here every day, every morning on Pow Go On. If not in the morning, on the VODs. Good morning to another Freedom Friday where we discuss, and that's a good thing. Good morning. Yeah, great times. Here for another Freedom Friday where we liberate ourselves, talk about life-loving stuff instead of death-fearing. Remember to always allow these words to enter one ear and out the other. Are y'all ready for a little bit of guided meditation to feel so good from the inside out while also talking about some stuff that will make us feel so good from the inside out? You know what I'm saying? Really affecting our body, feeling good, integrating truths that might be hard when you're not feeling good without a little bit of guided thinking, without a little bit of guided breathing, as we are always breathing in our body. And sometimes our breath and our ability, our nerve to sit in a situation makes it difficult to get to the real root of the problem because, you know, we kind of get all like upset and our bodies feel like, hey, let's do something else. So let's pretend that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. Like just pretend that it's like right in front of your lips, like an inch or two. Let's pretend that there's a candle in front of the lips you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you do so. And to just observe your sense of self as you pretend again with me that there is a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self and if it shifts or not. And don't judge it if it does or if it does or doesn't. Just observe. Again, you want to pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. If you would with me, please pretend that there's a candle in front of your lips that you're trying to not put out. To leave your swallowing muscles alone and observe your sense of self. And how does that feel for you? As you once more, again, pretend with me in the first podcast in 3D. Please pretend with me that there is a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self. How does that feel for you? This morning, as we are stretching our self-awareness like a muscle, please allow all of these words to enter one ear and out the other, no matter what you are doing, whether you are out there still under the sheets, though you may have had a late start and you might be having that conversation. Oh no, I had a late start. Maybe I should just not go to school. Maybe I should not go to work. Maybe I should just not cook breakfast. I should just watch YouTube and not do those things I committed myself to do. I should just not do those things, you know? But can't you just let those feelings pass as you observe your sense of self feel so good from the inside out by pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out? Isn't what you went through already isn't what you went through already enough punishment Isn't enough punishment already to have gone what you've gone through? Let alone you're gonna punish yourself for it? No. Today, on Freedom Friday, as we are liberating not just our bodies, but also our minds and souls, we discuss a new mantra. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. A new mantra. Mantra, as in something you say all the time to deal with life, to apply to different scenarios, to help you understand life, to help you perceive life. And that's a good thing. As in, have you ever heard of the example of Sisyphus, an ancient Greek mythological story of Sisyphus, the man who was punished for his constant wrongdoings by the gods? So he was forced to roll the same boulder up a hill, the same hill, every day, only to watch that boulder fall back down every day, down to the same spot, in which he would have to again return the same boulder the next day to that same highest part, that same highest peak. And we typically look at this story with sadness, compassion, you know? We typically look at this story with sad eyes. He shouldn't be doing that. Oh, poor guy. But today on Freedom Fridays, we're talking about the phrase, the mantra. And that's a good thing, as in, yes, you might have to roll that boulder up the same freaking hill every day, and that's a good thing. As in, yes, you might be sitting in your bed and still late. You might be feeling late for your job, your school. You might have done something a little bit off, and you might be now still sleeping in your bed. You might still be now feeling kind of dead in your head. And you might say, I feel like crap. But today on Freedom Fridays, we say, I feel like crap, and that's a good thing. How could that possibly be a good thing to feel like crap? We'll discuss. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Freedom Fridays on Pal Go On. Feeling so great from the inside out. You know what I'm saying? Better than your morning would. Feel without. Welcome to another episode. It is August 13, 2021, Freedom Fridays on Pal Go On. We'll be right back. And that's a good thing. Sense of the world to make sense of the world. Good morning to another Freedom Fridays on Pal Go On. What are we all about on Pal Go On? Always feeling so good from the inside out. The first podcast in 3D. How are we feeling so good from the inside out? How are we feeling so good from the inside out? Well, with a little help of your own body, baby. Your own body, baby. Feeling so good from the inside out. A little bit of guided awareness, as your body's superpower of awareness is always engaging with something, right? On some layer of consciousness, whether that be physical, emotional, spiritual, past, present, future, whatever your body's and your mind is aware of, right? Whatever's in your awareness. Your body's superpower. Be able to shift your awareness on anything at any time. Infinite things for your body and mind to be aware of, right? Your physical situation, physical desires. As as we are stretching our self-awareness like a muscle today. You could be having physical desires. Your brain and your self-awareness are interacting with so many different layers of consciousness, or at least have the potential to, at any point in time, simultaneously. Let me ask you, can you simultaneously speak 2 sentences at once? Haha, your brain can not only feel 2 things at once and understand 2 layers of consciousness at once, but it can also feel and understand and commit to any action and any realm it wants to at the same time. Any consciousness state. You could be feeling happy, and a part of you could be feeling neglected at the same time. Your body, but you cannot speak 2 sentences at the same time. And that's a good thing. Today on Pao Go On, as we are always feeling so good from the inside out, talking to you directly through you, the first podcast in 3D, as an exploding meaning within you by placing your own awareness on the proper things within your own body. And how do we know these? Is it because you're a doctor? Is it because you're a kinesiologist? Is it because you're a physiologist? Yes, and so are you, because you live in this body that has this design. And you have this awareness ability to place the weight of the body down the front of the spine and into these rainbow arches and not into your tailbone all of the times. Why is it so important? Because your body has a preferred way to deliver weight, as in your body wants to deliver weight into weight-bearing portions of itself, which are bones, which don't have nerve endings, but are prepared to deal with the weight of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pressure, depending on especially where it's going. But just the same way that you would not rest a TV on its screen, or would you? Just the same way you would not roll a car on the side of it, but rather you would want to roll the cars on the wheels. There are particular places that your body wants to sit, deliver its weight into. And those places are not your legs and not your tailbone. Why do we focus on what it is not? Well, because society has been so focused on what it is, as in our whole lives. You would not be in the wrong, or you would not be to blame to think that you ended up assuming or believing through society or what have you that the weight goes into the tailbone. We tend to think of balance as a singular spot. But in actuality, as we're delivering weight into these rainbow arches, your brain and your awareness is so smart. You're such a smart being, you. You're such a smart being, you, that no matter what it is that you thought your body was conceived to be, no matter what it is, no matter where you thought your weight to be delivered, if you did believe it to be your tailbone, your body is so smart that it will faithfully carry out the physical instructions that you want it to do. It will faithfully carry out the instructions that you want it to do. Your body is so smart. So why is it so important for us to correct and reorient ourselves from an incorrect internal representation of ourselves to a correct one? Well, because your body and brain is so smart that if it has an incorrect representation of itself internally, mentally, it will faithfully carry out those instructions, leading to hell attention, leading to all of your bones and all of your nerves being all discordant and being in disagreement with one another. So how do we fix that? By putting the proper channels of our own body into awareness, by putting the proper muscles of our body into awareness that more closely follow the design of our body. Herbie, the body has a design? Well, doesn't a chair have a design? Doesn't a table have a design? As in, don't you put the feet of those things on the floor for you to get the most out of this thing, right? A cup even has a design. As in, the cup is designed to be sipped from the top. So when you put liquid into it, you put the bottom on the bottom for the cup. The cup has a design. How about the keyboard? Do you use the keyboard with the keys facing down, or do you use the keyboard keys facing up? It's part of the design. How about a chair? Do you use a chair with the seat part on the floor? No. You use the seats. You use the chair with the feet part on the floor. Same way with if that for chairs, if that for tables, then what for a human being? Yes, we have a design. And our awareness is so strong that it will try to do our body the way that it thinks it is designed. We move in the ways that we believe that we are designed, which is great. We can do everything, but we are not a big bag of flesh. We are not a big amorphous bag of floating flesh, but rather we have bones with distinct shapes. Very distinct shapes for distinct purposes. And we have freedom to do whatever we want with those. And we achieve even more freedom should we follow these designs. And our awareness is so strong, right? So please, if you would, please pretend with me that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. It's like, man, humans have a design? Why would we not want that? Well, doesn't it feel like it's restricting us? Do we feel like Sisyphus? Having to deal with this same body every day? And if it has a design, doesn't that make us feel less free? As we are pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. And to observe your sense of self as you do so. It's like, yeah, there might be a design. And that's a good thing. Because now you have other people who could help communicate to you about your experience. If there was no design, how would we know that anybody else could even relate to you, that any of their advice wouldn't mean anything to you? Yeah, they're designed to human beings, but that's a good thing. It's hard enough being able to live in our lives alone, but not being able to communicate that? How, like, imagine that. How would this candle thing work? How would this candle thing work? Are you pretending with me that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out? And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. If there was no design, there'd be no similarity between people. We'd all just be a new thing every time. And how can you relate to anybody? But there's a design, and that's a good thing. A very, 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 very good thing. There's a design as in your body wants to place the weight of the body into the front of the spine and not the back. You can do other things, but this is the design. So if you want more freedom in the vessel that's providing you this experience right now, you be kind to the design. There's a design to getting freedom. There's a design, and that's a good thing. There's a design, and that's a good thing. Please pretend that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out, and to leave your swallowing muscles alone and observe your sense of self as we take a break. I'll be right back. Ooh. Are we pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out? To leave your swallowing muscles alone. As you're observing your sense of self. We are back. Welcome back. As we are using our sense of the world to make sense of the world. Always feeling so good from the inside out. How are we feeling so good from the inside out? Because I'm not doing nothing to you. I'm not massaging you physically. But bringing your attention to ways that your body feels so good from the inside out. As in, from you, to you, for you, by you. So good from the inside out. You're doing all the work. You're doing all the work. It's always with you. It ain't going nowhere. You feel me? Why would you want to feel so good from the inside out? Well, feeling so good from the outside in blocks you in, baby. As in, you are now devoted, you are now dependent on this thing that makes you feel good from the outside in. If it's from the outside in, well, it will never always be with that thing, right? But if it's from the inside out, you have no hope but to always be with this thing. Thank you for the host, Herbie Like. Isn't that so funny how you have so much time in this body of ours. You have so much time in your own body. Isn't it so funny that you have so much time in this body of ours? Yet nobody told us about, hey, could you please pretend with me that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out? And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. And to observe your sense of self. Like, why did no one tell us this? Your own awareness, something from the inside out. Can you ever be without your awareness? Yes, you're all alone, and that's a good thing. Yes, you can never turn your mind off, and that's a good thing. Yes, you can never shut your awareness off, and that's a good thing. We must imagine ourselves happy doing the things that we usually associate with a less quality of life. But what is pain? I can feel pain. I am suffering. And that's a good thing. How could that be? How could it be? How could you say and that's a good thing to everything? How could you feel so free in the world? How do we be so free on Freedom Fridays? We discussed that saying, and that's a good thing, is not needless optimism, but rather the proper perspective on life and what it is, the reality that life is. And that's a good thing. It cannot be anything else but a good thing. It has to be a good thing. Everything has to be a good thing. And you might say, why do you think that is, Herbie? How's that even possible? How could everything be and that's a good thing? These same people will be the same people who vibe with the idea that everything happens for a reason, yet they cannot agree that everything can be a good thing. How can you believe that everything has a reason and not see everything as a good thing? If everything has a reason, everything leads to a different or a larger purpose. So wouldn't everything have to be a good thing as it contributes towards this pot, this goal? We see that saying that "and that's a good thing" is not needless optimism. It's not vapid and hollow optimism. By saying "and that's a good thing" to everything. Yes, everything. Oh, they're making me feel uncomfortable right now. That's a good thing. Oh, I don't have any money right now, and that's a good thing. I don't have a job right now, and that's a good thing. How could those be good things? Well, why do we associate suffering with good? Isn't that our fault? As these human beings, we're constantly constructing our own definitions for what we see in the world. Our own definitions for things. We're defining our own definitions for words or for experiences. We define those experiences with our words, and then we get upset that we don't get those. We see suffering and we say, oh, it's a bad thing. We already assume that it's a bad thing because us humans, we project all the time. All we're doing is projecting. So we project this feeling of pain, of unsurmountable pain. Insurmountable suffering. And we call that a bad thing. Why? Because it affects our emotional and physical state right here and now, and we do not have a way to get over that besides drugs, sex, substances, alcohol, addiction, obsession. We've pretty much been locked into a way of thinking that the only way to overcome life is to become so obsessed with something that we don't think about the suffering of life. As we associated the suffering as a bad thing. But yes, you get suffering. You don't have a job. You don't have money. And that's a good thing. You don't have money, and that's a good thing. You don't have a job, and that's a good thing. Your family's gone, and that's a good thing. Your family's right there, and that's a good thing. You didn't have breakfast, and that's a good thing. How can all those things be true? Well, doesn't everything happen for a reason? Aren't you a human being, this thing that's constantly in motion? Or are you this static piece of paper? Are you a static piece of paper, or are you a human being constantly in motion, constantly re-fixing and re-emerging out of itself and reorienting itself, repairing itself? Which are you? Aren't you this human being that's going through time? Aren't you this living being that's metamorphosizing and improving over time, always? So how can we say, and that's a good thing, to everything? Well, the same way that you say everything happens for a reason. I don't have a job, and that's a good thing. You must suffer because there is this you before you, right? There's a you that is before, there is a you that is before you. A you that is like you before your eyes. It's like happens before you. It's still you, but it's like at the same time, it's like not you, right? That part of us needs that attention. And that's what suffering does. Draws your attention to the proper areas, draws your awareness to the proper areas, shows you where the hurt is so that you can fix it so that your entire body can be better for it. You might need to feel how it feels to not have a job for a while. It's gonna suck. You're gonna be like, what the heck? You're gonna be like, why can't I do anything? You're gonna be like, what? Am I just worthless? You're not worthless. Chill out, bro. Chill out, girl. But you need to feel it. You need to feel it to understand it. So you might be suffering, but that's a good thing, as it's now guiding you towards what to do to rebalance yourself. You might be suffering in life, but that's a good thing. You might not have a job, and that's a good thing. It's gonna be hard to explain this to your parents. But the overall perspective of life, that's a good thing. Your parents are gonna be so upset, and that's a good thing, because maybe they're onto something. Oh, your body's gonna hate this, and that's a good thing. Maybe it's onto something. Oh, society doesn't want me to do this. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Does that mean you have to settle for certain actions? Does that mean you're locked into certain actions? Or is it more freeing to say, and that's a good thing? We'll be right back. That's a good thing. Using our sense of the world to make sense of the world. World peace through individual inner peace and strength. Waking your worlds up physically, mentally, spiritually, and then physically again to feel so good from the inside out, everybody. Why? Because when you feel good, you think good, you do good. Please say it with me. When you feel good, you think good. And please say it with me. And when you think good, you do good. For the world and for yourself, you know what I'm saying? Please remember to allow all of these words to enter one ear and out the other, and grab the meaning that makes sense to you as we are stretching our self-awareness like a muscle this morning. Good morning, my name is Herbie, and this is absolutely Padawan. Welcome back. Today we are discussing, and that's a good thing. Is that something that's freeing? Or is that something that locks you in? The idea of saying that's a good thing to everything. This mantra that we're introducing today. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing. We discussed earlier about how it has to be a good thing. It can only be a good thing. Everything can only be a good thing. Why is that? Simply because we used to see things as, oh, it could be better. It could be this, it could be that. Oh, it's not perfect in this way. But no. Oh, this haircut's funny, and that's a good thing. Oh, you're late for school today, and that's a good thing. Why is that? Because those things could have simply not happened at all. Instead of looking at life as a way it could be better, a death-fearing personality, a death-fearing attitude towards life, our society could benefit a lot from having a life-loving perspective, a life-loving attitude towards life. As in, hey, not it could have been better, but hey, it could have not happened at all. What? Oh, I couldn't have been late for school? Yeah, that would have been nice. No, as in you could have not been here at all to experience anything. reason, it could have been a lot worse. It always can. Whatever it is the best it could have been. At the time, there is no other moment. Is it needless optimism to say, and that's a good thing, or is it a realist approach at the actual reality of life? It has to be a good thing, for there is no other thing that has happened. There is no other thing that your brain, that your body, that your mind experiences but the thing that is happening right now, or then, or at the time. Whenever, whatever happens to you, if everything happens for a reason, then everything that happens is a good thing. Always leading to something better, should you be aware of it, right? It seems to me that the only way for something to not be a good thing is for it to not be in your awareness. Even the bad things in life, as everything happens for a reason, as this suffering is guiding you towards rebalancing in the proper ways. How would you know where to rebalance your life should you not suffer in certain ways? Do you see why not having awareness is such an issue? As you are being fed this amazing resources every day, showing you what to focus on in the form of pain or suffering. Do you see how awful it can be to not have the self-awareness to be able to see what that suffering is so that you can learn from it, so that you can guide yourself towards balancing yourself, using it? Otherwise, it really does have no purpose, right? This suffering, this pain that we have every day, week to week, monthly, annually. What is going on here? What's the point of all this pain? If we don't use it to reorient ourselves towards actual reconstruction of our own selves, to be more present in the moment, to feel great in the moment, then what is the point of the suffering then? Then it truly does become useless. It truly does become pointless. Valueless. This suffering, it truly does become almost personal, offensive even, if we are not keeping it into our awareness and ordering it properly with the framework that it's a good thing. That's a good thing. Everything's a good thing. It has to be. It has to be that everything's a good thing, as everything happens for a reason. So that bad thing, oh, it's alerting you how to avoid bad things. Oh, that good thing over there, oh, it's showing you what to get for good things. Oh, now it's turned bad, it's showing you how to not go bad again with that good thing. Everything happens for a reason, so that's a good thing. Oh, you're late for work, that's a good thing. Because it can show you how to rebalance yourself. Maybe it's not a good thing to certain other things. Maybe it's not a good thing to your work that you're late on that day. Or is it? Maybe you become a more valuable employee because of it, because you've learned a certain lesson. I'm late for work, and that's a good thing. Maybe you're saying what you feel about work. As long as we're self-aware. Right? Otherwise, the suffering really does go down the drain. It really does go in one ear and out the other, and you don't even grab no meaning from it. Because we're too busy seeing it as a bad thing. But it simply could have not happened at all and not shown you nothing. Allowing you to fall off a certain cliff of destruction without making you suffer first to alert you as to what you were doing. You might be curious as to what's going on in your life and why you cannot find what you want to find in life. But with this self-awareness, aren't we able to look at our suffering, and aren't we able to look at what stresses us out and thus understand and read ourselves like a book? Damn, that's so sick. Yeah, we suffer, and that's a good thing. Imagine if we had to use language like physical, or use like individual words to try to explain to somebody what their problems were in life. And here your body is, you amazing godlike window to this godlike experience you are. Here your body is working in 3D, just telling you through suffering what you care about. In a way that's so fast. Maybe we associated with it sucking because we didn't know how to deal with it. Because our breath would get all out of stability and we'd be like, damn, breathing is so important. I breathe before I eat, I breathe before I sleep, I breathe before I drink water. And yet when I think about these things in life that stress me out, I no longer can breathe well. Screw that noise, I always need to breathe well. right? So how are we always not able to say, hey, and that's a good thing? Well, we couldn't handle the idea of having to find out why it's a good thing. We couldn't trust ourselves that we could breathe our way through it, that we could feel free in truly saying that this thing is a good thing as it's starting to hurt us, as it's starting to affect our breathing. How can we say it's a good thing? How can we say anything is a good thing when it's affecting our breath? And what affects your breath? Everything, anxiety especially. So if these things are affecting your breath, how is it possible that we're gonna say it's a good thing when we live breath to breath? We die every 5 minutes, but our timers are set by a breath. How are we gonna describe anything as a good thing when it causes us to suffer? When it causes us to have a hard time breathing in this moment? Well, that can only happen if we feel like we can overcome that moment. If you feel like you can overcome that moment, then you truly do see each moment as rebalancing you. An opportunity to show you how you can come to a better breath again through this new situation. However, if you are not familiar yet with pretending there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out, and to leaving your swallowing muscles alone, and observing your sense of self. If that relationship with you, yourself, is not square, then anything that affects your breathing, of course, is going to be life or death. It's going to be the end of the world. It's like, yo, I live breath to breath. I can't have nothing affecting my breath right now because I have no way of making this breath better, reliably. Well, now you do. Please pretend that there's a candle with me in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And leave your swallowing muscles on and just observe your sense of self. Again, please pretend with me one more time that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. To leave your swallowing muscles alone and observe your sense of self as you're doing so. No wonder we couldn't see suffering as a good thing. No wonder we didn't see pain as something that was helping us rebalance or find ways to rebalance, because we never knew how to rebalance. We have to separate the learning from the doing, and our body was constantly demanding us to do. Society and school, work, parents, friends, was constantly asking us to do before we even learned. But you gotta separate the learning from the doing. At least in our eyes, we always viewed the world as forcing us to do. As in, if you're not here on time, if you're not here with your friends right now, you're not going to get what you want. You gotta do. Even if you're not ready yet, you gotta do. You wanna be popular, you wanna have friends, you gotta do. As in, you gotta be at that place, right? In our heads, that's what we thought. We gotta be at that place, regardless of our inner state. We just gotta be there, almost feeling like a slave to what we wanted, right? Not really free. As we were always just trying to find some way to deal with this inability to feel a better breath. No wonder suffering itself felt like a bad thing and not something that was helping us. As you are pretending there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. And that's a good thing. We'll be right back. And that's a good thing. Be right back. good morning. Winding down to the end of the show here. It is 8:02 a.m. On August 13, 2021, it is Friday. Friday, August 13, 2021. No wonder we saw suffering as a bad thing. No wonder we saw suffering as a bad thing. As suffering was always distracting us from our ability to feel a decent breath, and we live breath to breath. We live breath to breath, as in we live for every breath, and if we don't get that next breath, you're dead. But that first breath dies, and then a new breath is born, and that's a good thing, right? So we live breath to breath. Anything that interrupts our breathing, if we don't have a way to regulate and feel better about our breathing intentionally, well, you're killing me. That is what they're saying, right? You're killing me because I cannot encourage myself to get a better breath on my own. I must have the absence of things that cause me to have bad breaths. I must have the absence of what causes my breathing to be worsened in order for me to have a decent breath. No will from the inside to create a better breath for yourself, for thyself. No will inside to submit to giving yourself a better breath. Then wouldn't every suffering be the end of the world, right? As we live breath to breath, your breath is the most important thing to you. Before water, before sleep, before food, it's the most important thing to you. Breathing. It happens before all of those things. You're not breathing right now, you're gone. So anything that affects that, including anxiety, unless we have a way to reliably get out of that ourselves, a way to reliably encourage a better breath. As we live breath to breath, a reliable way for us to encourage a better breath for ourselves from the inside out. Without that, then suffering truly is meaningless. It truly is a bad thing. But humans always have the ability to get a better breath. We are designed to do so. Things that throw you off balance, the things that make you breathe with less quality as we are living breath to breath, now become your friend. Pain being your friend, suffering becoming your friend, as it alerts you to where you need to place attention on in your own life. Why? To feel better for yourself, of course. Your superpower of awareness is already so strong. Your superpower of awareness is already so strong. So aware of all these different layers of consciousness, whether it be you feeling like it's life or death right now. It's like one layer of consciousness, right? Like fight or flight, or like emotions, or establishing rules about the real world. You have all these different like ways of looking at life. And so our superpower of awareness is able to be aware of all of those things at once, simultaneously. And our suffering is also created from this machine, this amazing self-awareness machine, aware of certain things causing us to suffer. So as we are living breath to breath, it makes sense that we would see suffering as such a bad thing if we didn't see any way to get over the suffering from the inside out. But only we just needed the suffering to not happen to us in the first place? Then yes, suffering would look like a bad thing. But doesn't suffering alert you to where you should place your awareness on so that you can heal certain parts of a body, whether it's a human body or many human bodies, a population of human bodies? Doesn't pain alert you to where you should place awareness on, where the problems are, so you can fix them before they become bigger problems? The world's going crazy right now, and that's a good thing. The world's going crazy right now, and that's a good thing. Maybe we always thought that, but we couldn't truly believe it, and that's a good thing. Because now you're here. But maybe we believed it already, or maybe we thought this already. The idea that everything's a good thing, that everything happens for a reason. Maybe we already believed it, or already thought about this idea, but never actually committed to the idea of fully, whole-bodily believing it. That everything is a good thing. Why? Because we physically can't feel that way. We didn't physically have a way to make everything feel like a good thing, and don't feelings come first? Because your feelings affect your thoughts, right? If you're feeling a nail jabbed into your back left heel, I doubt that you're thinking about how to be nice to this person who's talking to you right now. If there's blood coming out of your freaking leg, your bottom left foot, there's blood coming out, you're feeling that? Are you thinking about other things, or are you feeling that? So when you feel, it affects the way you think. It affects, and when your thinking is affected, it's affecting what you're doing, right? So if we live breath to breath, isn't everything about the feeling? How we're feeling from breath to breath, as we only have like a couple minutes from breath to breath, so everything is about the feeling. Maybe we didn't commit to the idea of things actually being a good thing. Maybe we didn't commit to the idea of everything happens for a reason. Maybe it was always just lip service, because we couldn't actually feel, and because we couldn't actually induce this feeling within ourselves. Maybe it was always lip service to say that everything happens for a reason, that everything's a good thing. Maybe we have been trying to fake it till we felt it. But maybe faking it is just not as good as the real thing. Maybe if we had a real way to induce the feeling of good breathing within ourselves, we could see everything as a good thing, as nothing would ever affect your breathing. What do you mean everything's a good thing? Well, you can't even think that yet if you're not feeling good. You feel good, and you think good. And when you think good, you do good. And that's a good thing. How can you say, but that's a good thing to everything? Well, if you're feeling good all the time. How can you say that's a good thing to everything? Well, if you're feeling like it is. How can you say, and that's a good thing to everything? Well, if you're feeling like it's a good thing. And how do you feel like it's a good thing? Well, by pretending that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self as you are doing so. How do we say, and that's a good thing to everything? Well, we feel good things at all times, because when you feel good, you think good. And when you think good, you do good. But that's a good thing. How can you say, but that's a good thing to everything? Well, maybe if you had a good breath for everything. How can you say, and that's a good thing for everything? Well, maybe if you had a good breath for everything. Because isn't your experience always defined by your breath and your awareness of your breath? Maybe not your awareness. Well, of course, your awareness of your body, which has a breath. Isn't every one of your moments defined by a breath? As we are dying every 5 minutes, and that timer is reset every time you take back an inhale. We live for every breath. Inhale, then exhale, which begets an inhale. So how do we think that everything's a good thing? Well, we gotta feel good. How do we think that everything's a good thing? Well, you first have to feel that everything's a good thing. You have to feel that the suffering is good so you can discover what the issue with the suffering is. Doesn't it feel good to know the purpose of suffering? Yeah, the suffering itself might not be feeling good, but doesn't it feel good to know the purpose of it? Hurts so good. Let's not pretend we never heard that. Spicy foods hurt at first. Hot tubs hurt at first. No pain, no gain. Only if we are able to reliably breathe better. To have faith that it is going to get better, starting first with our breath from the inside out, as we can induce that. If you would, please pretend with me that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. To leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self. Again, with your first podcast in 3D, please pretend with me there is a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self. This podcast is coming to a close. And that's a good thing. Isn't it just true? Aren't things just is? It's just a good thing because it could have not existed at all. This is the moment we live in, everybody. There is no other moment. And that's a good thing. As there's already infinity things for us to focus on, and that's a good thing. There's so much here right for us, right here and now. And that's a good thing. Please pretend with me that there's a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone. It is Friday, and that's most certainly a good thing. And that's a good thing. Don't we see that it's not even about trying to fake it till you feel it, but rather a proper alignment, a proper ordering of understanding the reality that is. Literally, and that's a good thing. Our bodies, ourselves are already so 3D smart and 3D meaning. You simply must put into us awareness that there is suffering, that there's anything that you need to think about. Your body can handle it. Your body can figure it out. From the inside out. Welcome to another day, better than your morning would. Feel without. Have a great freaking day! Pretend with me that there is a candle in front of the lips that you're trying to not put out. And to leave your swallowing muscles alone as you observe your sense of self. We'll see you guys next week.